Returning to the Hall of Fame, here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Hello, everybody, and welcome inside the Hall of Fame. Here are ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. It is Brad Gilmore, also known as The Boat. And I know I'm not the face that you were expecting to see, but guess what? You're still going to have a voice that you expected to hear, because joining me right now from, I believe, New York City, New York, he is here with me on the line, the traveling man, the man who just made his return after 2.5 years to in-ring competition. The Hall of Famer Booker T is here, everybody.
That's right. That's right. I'm here, baby. I mean, we're ready to do this thing. We're rolling down I-45. I'm not rolling down I-45. I'm in New York City, getting ready to do some work, man. I told you guys, WWE Treasures getting ready to kick off again here pretty soon, and I got a little bit of an involvement in that as well. So getting ready to go to work, dog. Getting ready to go to work.
You're Mr. A&E WWE lately. I mean, you had the documentary last year, right? You had the new show, Smack Talk, which debuted last night. Everybody in the chat, let us know if you saw it. Did you get to watch your episode?
I did. I got to check out actually like the last 15 minutes of it. I was running around. I was busy trying to get myself ready to get on the road today, and I totally let it slip my mind as far as what time it was, but I DVR'd, and I make sure I go back and check it out. And the thing is, I hate watching myself on TV.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just one of those things.
You know, like when you were a kid and you first heard your voice on like an answering machine, and you're like, "There's no way that's me," right?
Yeah, I still hate hearing my voice. You know, it's crazy, especially like the old Booker people. Man, why your voice was so high back then? You know, I don't know.
It's because you were younger. Like your voice changes over the years. But so can you tell us what you're doing on Hidden Treasures, or is this under wraps? Can we not talk about it?
No, it's not under wraps, man. I'm the host of WWE Treasures. I'll just go around, and we're going to be there again, out searching for artifacts. Some of the items that superstars wore back then. Some of the just say for instance, their urn, something special that happened in WWE at certain times, whatnot. I'm going to be the guy, heading this thing up. So I'm pretty excited, man. I'm pretty excited. More than anything, I kick off in the morning as far as going to work, putting in the hard work. But I'm excited, man, because everything right now in my life always say it's been like a snowball going downhill. It just seemed like it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and I always wondered, ask, man, when is it gonna melt? When that snowball is gonna melt? But it seemed like it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and I just thank God for everything that He's given to me.
Yeah, I mean, you had a big weekend. There's no doubt about that. It was a big weekend. For those of you who don't know, I mean, Booker, you made your in-ring return over the weekend at the Reality of Wrestling. You competed in a 10-man tag team match. I guess first things first, how'd you feel about the match? How do you feel physically? How do you feel physically more than anything?
You know what? I wouldn't call it an in-ring return because I don't think I really never left the ring, really. I haven't, officially said I retired or anything like that. So anytime someone see me, inside the ring, I'm just back, you know what I mean? But I'm not making a return or anything like that. Booker T is back, again, one of those type of deals. But I feel pretty good, man. After the show, I went home and immediately jumped in the jacuzzi. Let me get some preemptive strike on this page. Do some work, get the Epsom salt out, whatnot. But I soaked for a little while. I got up Sunday, and I thought about going play golf, and I said, "No, I'm just let the old body rest. The old body needs rest. Don't push yourself too hard." So I just kicked back Sunday and relaxed. And then boom, today. Back up and running, man, on a plane, on the road, working. But there again, preparation is the only luck you're ever going to have. Preparing, to have that match, preparing for the pain to come, getting ready for it, to get ready to get out here today was very, very important. I could have just sit around and did nothing. And trust me, I'd be feeling a whole lot worse. But no, man, I feel good about the whole night. Reality Wrestling Summer Champions 8 for the huge success, as well as that match, that final match, that main event match is going to be going up on Twitch Thursday. So, guys, if you want to see that match live, check it out Thursday on the Twitch channel. If you don't see it Thursday, you won't be able to see it again for another 3 weeks. And I know you don't want to do that, so check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, if you are watching us right now on our Twitch channel, Thursday, we'll put the information on social media exactly what time, but that'll be your one and only chance for the next 30 days to watch the big 10-man tag, Team Charmel versus Team Booker. If you want to see the first, we won't call it the in-ring return, but we'll say the first match that you've had in a couple years. If you want to see that match, you can see it this Thursday on Twitch exclusively. And once it's streamed, that's it. You can't see it anymore. You got to wait a month. You got to watch all Summer of Champions play out. If you're here with us in Houston, Texas, you can watch CW 39 every Saturday night, and you can see the build up to this match. But again, it'll be live on Twitch this weekend. But like, were you happy with? You said preparation is the only luck that you're ever going to have. Were you happy with your preparation leading up to this? Because again, we know it's not a return because you never left, but you hadn't been in the ring in a couple of years. We had pandemic. We had all kinds of stuff that may have set you back. Did you feel like you had enough time to be prepared?
Well, I tell you, from the comments that I've gotten, first and foremost, I want to thank everybody for putting me over, saying, the old man still look like he's in shape, look like he can still go. I prepared as much as I possibly could. But I went into that thing, I wouldn't call it a handicap or anything like that, but my right knee is killing me. It's been killing me for about a month. And, but I was able to, smoke and mirrors, go out there and still, play the part. I always tell my students, you don't have to actually know how to do it. You just have to act like it. I pulled one of my old quotes out of the hat when I'd have made it work, man. And the thing is, I'm never going to be 25 again. I understand that. But to be able to go out there and, work with my students, give my young guys the rub, and let them see what this business is truly all about. I don't think I'm ever going to stop doing that. So I feel good about my performance. I feel good about the way I looked. I feel good about, like I say, the success of Reality Wrestling Summer Champions 8. That right there, I think is the most impressive thing out of that whole night.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did get a lot of fanfare online from the entire wrestling community, the entire wrestling fandom, and of course, like some of your favorites, of course, Renee Young shouted you out, said "Big Daddy Laddie." Eddie Kingston even retweeted.
That's a quote made by Keith Lee. Keith Lee was the one who actually came up with that tag right there. So big ups to Keith Lee.
Big ups to Keith Lee. I saw Eddie Kingston retweet that, and then of course, Lana shouted you out. The CJ Perry. Natalia, so many people, Santos Escobar from NXT. I saw a lot of tweets and a lot of likes and a lot of retweets. Goldie, I saw Goldust even retweet it from over the weekend. Just a lot of love. I mean, does I guess to have that kind of reaction about you doing something not on a grand scale. It's not like you came back at WrestleMania or stepped in the ring at WrestleMania. You did it for your students. Was it kind of just an awesome, I don't know, to see that response to something that Reality of Wrestling did and how you helped elevate kind of, the awareness, I guess, of that event?
You've heard me say it many times, man. I have no itch to scratch or anything like that.
Right.
Stepping back in the ring is not something I'm looking to do. I always said, if WWE was to ask me to come back, I'll do it, but it'll only be for the check, but to do it for Reality of Wrestling, company that I built with my own 2 hands. It meant a lot, man. It meant a lot, and it's special to see the guys, around the wrestling community, respond to there again, not a WWE show, but a Reality of Wrestling show. It just makes the world see Reality of Wrestling in a different light. We're doing different things, and I was just to get the fans to actually tune in, and that's what this thing's all about. When they tune in, they're going to see some of the best wrestlers, and that's what Reality of Wrestling is all about.
Yeah, no, it is what Reality Wrestling is all about. And let me ask you this, because you got to sit there on the apron in this 10-man tag. Every man who was in that match, for the most part, maybe with the exception of one, but you've trained them all in some respect or another. And the overwhelming majority of those competitors started at the reality of wrestling, and they all have come into their own in recent years. Did it give you any kind of I don't know, were you proud just to see the guys who are in the match?
No, man, it made me proud to see what in my creation that that I thought about from the beginning, come to fruition. That's what it made. That's man. I thought about this thing almost 18 years ago, as far as how we were going to do this, how we were going to make a company grow, and just like a kid, man, you feed it, you know what I mean? You nurture it, and you take care of it, and it'll grow, and that's what we've done with reality wrestling, and the Brian Keats of the world, that guy been with me, for this day one, you know what I mean, of his career, and now I see him, going all over the world and people mentioning his name, so Mysterious Q, a guy that, his name is ringing loud, around the world, Ryan Davidson, all those guys, Will Allday. And I want to make sure those guys out there, put some respect on Will Allday's name. I've heard Will Allray, Will L. Ray. It's Will All Day. It's Will All Damn Day. We started right there in reality wrestling, so put some respect on his name. So, no, man, all those guys, man, are my guys, and I love those guys, and we're going to take this thing to another level.
Well, hey, we got more to talk about in regards to the match on Saturday. There's some stuff going on in the wrestling world. People want to know, Booker. There's a question that everybody wants to know, and we're going to answer that question after the break. We'll be right back. This is the Hall of Fame. You listen to ESPN 975. We'll be back in a minute. And we are back here inside the Hall of Fame, ESPN 975. I'm your man, the boat, Brad Gilmore. And joining me on the way to Stamford, Connecticut, after just landing at NYC, he said, I cannot miss this show today. The legend himself, Booker T, is with us on the line. You still good, Book?
Yeah, man, I'm still here, man. Still rolling down the highway.
All right, well, hey, while you're rolling down that highway, let's talk a little bit more. There's a couple other questions out there people wanted to know. And one of the big topics, because I don't know if you saw this online. Well, of course you did. It was on your Twitter. It was on the Reality Wrestling Twitter and on the Instagram, Reality Wrestling Instagram. There was the side-by-side, 1998 versus 2022. And you had the same tights on. And it doesn't look like a whole hell of a lot of time has passed. Your hair's longer. You got a little gray in the beard, but still in great shape. Why did you? Well, first of all, what was your reaction to that side by side?
Nah, man, I thought it was pretty impressive. I've lost a little muscle maturity. I still got the muscle maturity, but I've lost a little muscle mass. Let's just say that. Other than that, the waistline is still a 34 and a half. I'm pretty proud of that. I've always wanted to be one of those guys that, maintain the waistline over the years. My grandfather lived to be 102, man. He always had a trim waistline, man, more than anything. So hoping I go out like that. But no, man, I thought it was pretty cool, man, to see the old man still able to step up to the plate, and people say, man, Book still looks the part, and that's what wrestling was all about, is looking the part.
So why the Harlem Heat tights? I guess these weren't these were Harlem Heat tights, but they were really the really early run of your singles career, right? Like those are from, right?
Yeah. That was when I was doing the best of 7. I wore those tights when I wrestled Chris Benoit. Back in the day, and I just happened to be watching a match on YouTube, and I was like, wow! And I remember I had those little tights in the garage where my mother-in-law had cleaned them up for me. And I was like, man, I wonder if I put these on, if they'll hold up, if they just won't explode. I'm serious, because after 20 plus years, I didn't know if the wear and tear was, they were just going to fall apart. But I said, I just want to see it. I just want to see what it looks like one more time. And to put them on and actually take my shirt off in front of the crowd. Just one more. I'm very conscious about taking my shirt off, just because these young guys look so good these days. I'm like, man, don't want to be trying to compete from that perspective. But to do it just one more time was pretty cool. I know a lot of people was asking, man, what were the signature black and white boots? And the only reason I didn't wear boots was because my right knee was hurt, and those boots are so heavy. I want to give myself a little bit of mobility. That's the only reason I didn't wear the boots. But to bring it back, to throw back just for a minute, oh man, it felt great.
Yeah, because it was really the first time I'd seen you in, I guess we could say, vintage Booker T gear, right? Since your match with your brother at the final heat, because in the next match after that, you have a Rex Andrews. You had on like the black tights or the black
Yeah,
jeans.
yeah.
Then the last match you had was you were GI Bro, right?
Yeah.
With the flap jacket and everything. But this one was the classic WCW television champion Booker T. I guess because I never really thought about this aspect. I just saw Liv Morgan, the new SmackDown Women's Champion. She put something out there on social media like, hey, looking for a new seamstress to make some new gear. Does anybody have any suggestions? And I guess that's one aspect of the industry that I never thought about. Like, how hard is it to get gear made? Or when you were really running heavy on TV, how much money were you spending on gear? Like, was it a big expense that would come out of your paycheck?
It was a grip coming out of my paycheck, because I was really high on making sure I had different outfits, different pair of boots. I always just wanted to, look fresh all the time. Thought that was, first impression could be a last impression, deal. So I always was about spending money on my gear. I had this, girl who used to work in the industry, and she had this seamstress, and she used to make all of my gear for me, and she put her own flair and her own flavor on it. And I think maybe that's why, perhaps ladies gravitated to that Harlem Heat gear back in the day, because it had a certain feel to it. But it's not easy. You got to find the right person as well. Just like I was listening the Macho Man Savage documentary, and the person that made his outfits, he had a lot of big stars, and only one person could have worn the Macho Man's outfits. And then if you go back, and the guy made outfits for pimps. If you go back and think about the Macho Man, he looked like a pimp.
Yeah.
Back in the day. But just think about how much money he spent on those hats and those robes, because he wanted to look the best, he wanted to be the best, he wanted to feel the best. And that's what I was all about back in the day myself.
I mean, right. I mean, another guy who's right in line with that is the Nature Boy Ric Flair. I mean, the amounts that he spent on the robes is that of legend, right? 25,000, 10,000, 15,000 on a robe and stuff like that. But again, like, I guess people don't think about y'all are independent contractors, wrestlers, for the overwhelming majority of you, right? And so things that you want to do, I guess when I was growing up, I just assumed WWE was paying for everything, or WCW is paying for everything, right? And I'm sure that they help and assist where they can, but
No,
or not.
no,
you don't think about that expense, right? Because you don't want to go out there and look like crap on national television, so you want to put some money into it. But then it's like, well, how much money can I really put into it? Like, did you have a limit of like, I'm not going to ever spend more than this on my ring gear? Like, I'm not going to spend more than $5,000.
I didn't. I didn't have a limit. Whatever it cost, I felt like I had to spend it. On boots, I felt like I had to spend, top dollar, to get the coolest looking boots, and I was willing to spend it. That's just the price of, being, out there and trying to, make yourself a little bit different. It's going to, sometimes it costs. And for me, I was one that, accept that cost. And for me, I think it worked out because I talked to my students today and I said, man, if you ain't looking for it, when you walk out that curtain, don't expect somebody to, get excited about you, So I think that's what it's all about, getting people excited. Elvis looked a certain way because he wanted to get people excited. Liberace, looked a certain way. Frank Sinatra, all these guys, they looked a certain way because they wanted you to feel a certain way when you watched them.
I mean, and too, like, how iconic are some of these looks? Like, even with the guys you were just talking about, Michael Jackson in the red zipper jacket from the Thriller video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, your clothes and attire are just as much a part of the character and a part of the performance as anything.
Well, I was talking to my wife, we a few years back we went to an old school concert. We went to go see In Vogue, and In Vogue was hot back in the day, man. They had all the juices flowing. You know what I mean? And when I went to go see them, they looked like 3 school teachers. I think one of them might have even had a sweater on.
And not the one teacher on campus that was hot, right? Like, you're talking about the ones who've been there 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I was like, wait a minute, this ain't In Vogue. The concert didn't even feel the same. I said, if they all just would have wore just a black dress, you know what I mean? I would have felt a little bit better about the show. You know what I mean? But they didn't even make no effort to make me feel like this was In Vogue from back in the day. So yeah, man, first impressions.
Now, didn't you say, though, the lady who made your gear, maybe I made this up. Did she make gear for Women of the Night?
That's what I said.
You said that.
You missed that part.
You must have cut out. You must have cut out.
I just said it a different way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just said it a different way. No, but she made all the stripper gear. You know what I mean? So if I wanted to go, wrestler or stripper, I would have made the cut.
Hey, if Turner doesn't start putting the light on me, I might have to go down to LeBaire here in Houston.
Hey, bro, that's the way it was.
Hey, at least you had a backup plan, right? You had a plan B. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with a plan
bro.
B.
Hey, man, like I say, I was gonna make some money somehow. And I didn't want to go do anything criminal again. So I say, the body got to be the way out. So I started investing in supplements, man. I'm serious.
We just got a comment from the Queen, the Hall of Famer, Charmel Huffman, and she just put those 2 little eyes looking to the side in the comment.
See what I'm saying? You can't even do the show without people, wanting to spy on you. Want to just want to criticize you. Want to bring you down. But it's hard.
Well, look, we have a couple super chats to get to. A little bit more on this match. Booker T is en route to Stamford, Connecticut. He's got some work to do because he's a busy man. But guess what? He made time for the Hall of Fame because we never miss a show. This is the Hall of Fame Inside ESPN 975. We'll be right back in a second.
You worth it.
Walker, Texas Ranger handles the bad guys with a roundhouse kick. I'm Jim Walker, Walker, Texas lawyer. I handle the insurance companies with a roundhouse kick to the wallet. If you've been injured in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, give me a call at 713-552-1117 or visit my website at walkertexaslawyer.com. You'll be glad you did. Why would you call anyone else?
Can you dig it, sucker?
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, ESPN 97.5, 92.5. If you're listening here in the Houston area, if you listen to us on the podcast, we really appreciate that. Make sure you hit subscribe, follow the show, give us 5 stars, leave a little review. I think we're going to start reading reviews here on the show, so make sure you go leave one so we can talk about it here. We're still with the Hall of Famer Booker T, who's on his way to Connecticut to do some stuff for A&E, WWE. If you didn't check out Smack Talk, make sure you check it out. But, Book, we have a super chat I want you to react to. This is from Swamp Dweller, who said, Book looks as good as ever. I think the tights are the best look personally. And that's what I want to ask. Do you think this is the best look that you ever had in your wrestling career, those tights?
I always like the short tights, man. For some reason, I always gravitate to the short tights. But that look was definitely iconic for me because I went from I was transitioning at that time, and before that, of course, as a tag team wrestler, I had the extra portion that covered my upper body, and I said, man, I'm doing singles wrestling now, so let me take just the upper part off, just to see what it looks like, and then I worked my way down to just the tights, and, that look, but it's an iconic look, and it was an iconic time, I think, more so than anything, because it was that time when I was getting put on the map. It was that time where I was going out and having matches where people were taking notice and saying, man, Booker T might have the potential to perhaps be the world heavyweight champion one day. So for me, it was just another phase in my wrestling career.
And then Swamp Dweller asked another question here. He said with the super chat, what are Booker's pet peeves in the ring? So do you have a pet peeve, like you hate when a certain guy does something or anything like that?
Pet peeves, man. I have no pet peeves other than, when I'm in the ring, you better be ready to work. When I'm in the ring, you better be ready to perform for one reason only, and that's the crowd. My pet peeves are guys that go out in the ring and think about themselves. I don't like guys that go out in the ring and think about themselves and think about their spots when they ride down the highway, how cool they were, or anything like that. For me, my thing was always going out there and making sure the fans felt that ultimate adrenaline rush when they was, watching the show. And being a part of it, at the same time. Even on Saturday night, I had so much fun just working the apron, and the fans that were behind me making sure they got their money's worth. When they left and went home, it was like, man, I cannot wait to watch the show just to see me talk crap to Booker T, that type of stuff, So for me, man, those are my pet peeves.
Let me ask you that, because for those who haven't been following the reality wrestling show week to week, you have been a little bit more can we say drunk with power than you have in the past, maybe a little bit more on the bad end of the spectrum, just objectively speaking. Did you kind of enjoy, this is your first match, I would believe, in quite some time, where you've gotten to kind of be more of an antagonist? Did you enjoy that side of the coin?
Oh man, I love being the bad guy. I love being the boss. Calling the shots. It's fun. Being able to play a role, being able to, there again, teach my students about the one side of this business that's so it's more of an afterthought these days, and that's the acting. To go out there and really make these fans, there again, come into the ring and want to actually do something. Make that fan want to jump the barrier. You know what I mean? And really hit you from a perspective. So I think that's what I try to think about. And for me, playing the heel, the boss, the bad guy, I could really embody that. Just have some fun. And just so, like I say, my students can see me and go, man, I'm getting it. Like, Promise Braxton after, our last match we had, the Sure Martell Classic, in her loss, beginning to understand this now. In her biggest loss, in her short wrestling career, she came to me and said, man, I really feel like I'm beginning to understand now. And that's what I think this thing is I always talk to people and say, man, my losses had to be better than my wins. And that's what I think, the true wrestlers think about.
Man, awesome advice there. Awesome advice. Here's the thing. So with your in-ring match on Saturday, you got a lot of people talking, and there are a lot of stories running online, and they're asking one question: are we finally going to see Harlem Heat versus FTR? This is what now people are calling online, including, I believe, Bleacher Report was the one who said it. I might be wrong on that, so don't hold me to it. But people are referring to this as a dream match. And with you getting into the ring on Saturday, a lot of people think it's closer to a reality. What say you?
Hey, man, I never say never on anything like that. I'm not looking to, recreate or regenerate anything like that by going out there and having that's not my dream match. That's a lot of people's dream match, but I must give Dax Harwood, I haven't seen Cash Wheeler a whole lot lately, but Harwood been putting in some damn good work. The kid is definitely understands, what it means to go out and perform at a very, very high level. If it was to happen, it would happen, and I'll definitely be prepared to step in the ring if it was to come around. But I don't know, man. My brother is definitely in another zone right now. It might be me and Goldust before it would be Stevie Ray, but it might happen. Never say never.
Booker T and Goldust would be a fun reunion too, or Booker and Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah,
and look,
yeah.
we got a company here down in Texas City. I don't know if y'all out there listening know, but it's a small company, but we work
Yeah.
hard for our artists, right?
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, we can make it happen somehow. But those guys, they're out there doing their thing right now. So don't bank on it or anything like that. But to win the right place at the right time, the right situation. Hey, who was that? Rocky Johnson said back in the day, the game ain't hard and he ain't barred. I hate that line, but it just sounds corny as hell. I just have to use it every now and then.
Hey, man, it all works. Swamp Dweller just super chat in, said, much love, guys. Thank you for answering my questions. Not many could come back to the ring at Booker's age and not miss a step, constantly proving why he is the two-time Hall of Famer. We appreciate that, Swamp Dweller. And we have another super chat here that I want to get to before we got to go to break. We got a couple minutes, though. This is from Eddie Kane, Maine. Said, Will All Day sign with AEW now?
Will he sign with AEW? I hope so. No, I hope so. I mean, Will All Day is talent, man. He's the guy that I've been pushing to get a break for a long time. You watch him, you could tell the work that he's put in as far as his craft. He's a guy that can go out there and give you a 5-star match. I think with anybody, I think in AEW, I really do. Anybody in AEW, I think Will All Day will be to go out there and work at a very, very high level and make the fans gravitate to him in a special, special way. So yeah, man, hopefully, giving Will All Day the rub, it get noticed a little bit more. And that's what this thing was all about, giving my guys the rub so the fans will, look at these guys and go, wow, man, who are these guys? And why aren't they on television right now from a, bigger perspective?
Who do you think, without Will, aside from Will All Day, everybody else in that match, who's the next big breakout out of everybody else that we saw? I mean, we had Brian Keith, we had Q, we had Gaspar Hernandez, of course. And then on the other side, you had Gino. You have Stephen Wolf, Edge Stone, to name a few. I mean, who do you see coming out of that? Ryan Davidson, of course.
I mean, the guy that's been around there putting in the work, the Locust, man, that's going to be the mysterious Q. Q is definitely a guy that's so freaking talented, and more importantly than that, he's been putting in like like so much friggin' work actually as of late. I always thought that was his biggest problem. You know, he was too talented. It was so easy for him in the beginning. And now he realizes the clock is ticking. And he finally said, "Man, let me put this thing in overdrive." And he's totally a different performer as of late.
Well, hey, we got more to talk about here inside the Hall of Fame. One more segment for y'all because Booker T is on his way to beautiful Stamford, Connecticut. What's the weather like over there, Book? What are we talking about? It's 103
right
here
now,
today.
No, right now it's probably like about 85. You know, I mean, it's cooling down. It's you know, the sun is going down right now, though. You know, I don't know what it's like early in the day, but right now it feels good. It feels real good.
All right, well, don't go anywhere. This is the Hall of Fame on ESPN 975. We'll be back in just 1 minute.
You worth it.
For 13 years, the King of Solar Screens has been an industry leader, and we proudly use 100% American-made products. Home of the $55 any size, any color solar screen.
Well, what about arches?
$55.
What about circles?
$55.
What about rectangles?
$55.
Any size, any color, installed free. The King of Solar Screens, on time, every time.
Now, can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker?
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame on ESPN 975, 92.5 on the boat. Brad Gilmore, joined by the two-time Hall of Famer Booker T. We've been talking about everything that went down at Summer of Champions 8. If you missed out this weekend, you missed out on something special. But Book, I want to talk to you about a couple more things before you get out of here. I know you're a busy man. You got a lot to do today. He's in Stamford, Connecticut. Get ready to shoot another television show. Man, look at you. Look at you. What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
You're the one who said Connecticut.
I didn't say Connecticut, did I?
You did say Connecticut. I think you fixed it, though. You said Connecticut.
All right. Well, hey, Connecticut, you're there. But hey, look, we all know that pro wrestling is live. And when it's live, you never know what's going to happen. And there's certain factors that you can't control. And sometimes, I've heard you talk to talent before. If you can't do it 10 times out of 10, don't do it, right? But sometimes the wrestling gods have a different idea, okay? Now, there's a term that's thrown around in wrestling a lot. It's called botch. You know, oh, you botched that move. I botched that. It's been botched. Chris Jericho, AEW's Chris Jericho, legend, guy who came up in your time, he was asked about this word. And I just kind of want to get your thoughts on it. This is what he said. They asked him about, what do you think about when fans say a wrestler botched that move? And Jericho said this: things happen in a match. The word I hate most that fans use is botch. Oh, you botched that one. How about you shut your effing mouth? There's no such thing as a botch. This is a live show. Mistakes happen. Why? Because we're human beings and it's live. If it happens in a hockey game, the fans don't start chanting in unison, you effed up, you effed up. If you go to a Broadway play and somebody fumbles their lines or says Connecticut, I just added that in there. People don't start chanting, you effed up, you effed up. But if you go to a wrestling match and miss a hip toss, people start chanting. That's BS. It's effing disrespectful. And wrestling fans will walk the line of being disrespectful. WWE Hall of Fame, and people are effing booing the Bushwhackers for being in the Hall of Fame. How about F you? So that to me is like, yeah, I love wrestling fans. If there were no fans, there would be no career of Chris Jericho. But you guys got to keep it in check sometimes and show the show some respect. What do you think about Chris Jericho there? He had a lot to say, Book. It feels like it's been festering for a moment. But do you feel like he has a point?
I got a lot of respect for Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is the guy that's put in his time. He's paid his dues, and nothing you can say about that. But I kind of disagree with Chris Jericho in this a little bit. Just because, I've always thought about the botch myself. Okay, and like you just said, if I can't do it 10 times out of 10 times, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to botch a hip toss. Okay, But what I am going to botch is one of these spots that a lot of these guys, or a lot of these young guys are calling out there today, trying to go out there and make it happen. It's 15 minutes in the match, they're a little bit tired, and they go out there and they screw it up. Okay, yeah, it's a botch. Yeah, you just screwed it up. You just screwed up. Now, I always said, if I screwed up in a match, it wasn't a botch because it wasn't something that I called. It wasn't something that, it just happened. You know what I mean? So it's not a botch. That's the way I always looked at it. But if it was something that I had went out and rehearsed and then, rehearsed and then went out and tried to get it done and screwed it up, that's a botch. Yeah, it is.
Well, yeah, it's a botch, but do you feel like the fans can just attack you for that? I mean, like, he has a point.
I mean, that's what these young guys have taken the business now, though. You can't blame the fan. You have to blame the young wrestlers who created that style of wrestling to want to go out there. Just like Jordan Grace said, Benoit would not be able to work today because he could not remember spots, which was the most asinine statement I ever heard in my life. He wasn't thinking about botching spots. He was thinking about going out and working. Normally, when you go out and work, you don't have time to botch any spots. Do that make any sense?
Well, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying, do that make any sense? You know what I mean? So when people talk about botches, they're talking about spots. And that's what these young guys have taken the business to today, is thinking about how many spots they can do opposed to going out and performing the match and making it real to a degree.
And well, here's the thing. I see this two ways. Like, I get where Jericho's coming from wholeheartedly, because if somebody trips on the stage in a Broadway play, the whole audience doesn't start chanting "you effed up" at them. That is true.
Yeah,
but
that's
true.
not a spot. That's not a spot either. That's an accident. That's an accident somebody just had on stage. You should have sympathy for that person who just did it.
Right. But okay, like to me, I don't think a botch is always a spot, because, like, I mean, maybe it is. Like, I remember
a botch is always a spot.
Well, like,
every time.
So if you're going for a suplex and you call it in the ring, you're calling, "Hey, I'm gonna give you a vertical," right? And something goes wrong. You don't let go.
How many times? But how many times have you seen a vertical botch? You know what I mean?
Not
in
a lot,
the ring.
But that's just what I'm saying. Like, I
would call the spot with D'Lo Brown, where he had back in the day, and paralyzed the guy, a spot.
Yeah.
I mean, I would call that a botch. Okay, because it's something that went wrong, and it was a spot that they had did many, many times, but it was just something that went wrong at that time. But I don't. That's a botch, but it's not a botch in the sense of the way it's done today, because today there again a lot of rehearsed theatrics and that's not being able to be pulled off properly.
Well,
I think that's
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. But I agree with Jericho in this sense of, like, I don't really know what gives. I mean, I guess you pay your ticket and you can chant what you want, but to tell somebody they messed up on their job, it is disrespectful. I mean, however you look at it.
Like I said, I don't disagree with them on that aspect, but as far as the spots and the botch, it's something that's happening so often these days. It definitely takes the work away from the actual in-ring performance, and I think that's what, I talk to my young guys about more than anything is, it's just like a wheel all day. He could jump off anything. He can do a backflip off of anything, but just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. Let's think about going out there and performing, and then when it's time to do that, do it. And that's just, for me, icing on the cake. That's just like adding the cherry on top, opposed to thinking that that's the whole, piece of the dessert, if you understand what I mean.
I get what you're saying. We can continue this conversation at another juncture, because we got about 30 seconds left with you before you got to ride off into the sunset. I
got to get out of here, man.
Anything you want to say about your match on Saturday? Anything that we didn't cover? You want to have a parting note for all the fans out there? You got 20 seconds.
No, man. As far as a big match on Saturday, man, I just want to thank everybody for giving me big props. You guys haven't seen the match yet, but hopefully you'll tune in on Thursday on the Twitch channel to check it out. It'll be only time you can see it. It'll be another 30 days before you can actually see it again. So, guys, check it out. Let me know what you think about the old man stepping back in the ring one more time after you actually see the in-ring performance. But I just want to thank everybody for, there again, not throwing me under the bus for stepping back in the ring with the young guys one more time.
Well, there he is. That's the legend, Booker T. Book, we'll talk to you later this week. We know you got a lot of stuff to go. Appreciate you stepping inside the Hall of Fame. We never miss a show, so we appreciate it, Book. All right, I think Booker is out. Booker is out. We're gonna end the show here. Just a couple more minutes. But yes, the match will be on Twitch this Thursday on the Reality Wrestling Twitch channel. Don't miss that out. It's going to go live. I believe it's 7 o'clock Central Time. 7 o'clock Central Time. So if you're in West Coast time zone, that's 5 o'clock. If you're in East Coast, that's 8 o'clock. If you're in Mountain Time, nobody really knows. I'll be honest with you. But to go back to the botch thing, I do want to say this. I want to say this last thing before we wrap up this edition of the Hall of Fame is totally get where Chris is coming from. I totally get where Booker's coming from. One thing that we have to remember as wrestling fans, and one thing I like watching, I like when it doesn't look perfect every time. You know, I like when the guy goes for the vertical, as I said a minute ago, and he kind of lands to the side with it, or the landing's awkward. As long as it's safe, I don't mind that. And the reason I don't mind that is it adds another sense of realism to it that it didn't have prior. When we see these, what I like to call pretty bumps all the time, where the guy gets thrown off the top rope, he gets shoved off and does this beautiful flip in the air and then lands perfectly on his back. That's awesome and all. That's cool and all. Whatever. But to me, does that add to the realism of the show that we're all watching? That's what it's about. It's not about the prettiest move. It's not about the prettiest bump. It's not about hitting everything perfect. Yes, Jericho's completely right. You're going to botch stuff up. You're going to make mistakes. This is live entertainment in front of millions of people every single week. It's going to happen. But when it happens, let's not say it as you screwed up, because that can add a sense of realism to it. When it doesn't always look perfect, it makes it feel more real. Think about some of your favorite singers of all time, right? They all didn't have the most perfect voice, right? Like if you go to Louis Armstrong from the past, I see trees, right? Like it's not the prettiest voice in the world, but it was real and you felt it. And I think that that's sometimes what we miss in wrestling nowadays. I'm somebody who's a fan of this generation. I'm somebody who came up in this generation. A lot of the guys who are out there working on top are my age or we're in the same age range. But what I want to see is I want to suspend my disbelief. You know what I mean? I don't want to sit there and feel like I know there's a show. My wife and I, when we went to New York a few weeks ago. We saw a Broadway production. Now, I know that these are actors. I know that they memorize their lines. I know that they have rehearsals. I know they go through their spots. But all of that went away as soon as the show started because they were so good at their craft, they were able to bring me in. And that's what we got to think about more, guys. We don't need to think about moves. We need to think about moments. That's what we need to think about in pro wrestling. But hey, guys, this has been an edition of the Hall of Fame. We have Booker T on the phone. You have the boat, Brad Gilmore here in studio. We will be back later this week with more of the only show that matters. Let's be honest. This is the Hall of Fame on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5, guys. We out.
Sucker!